Welcome to Does It Matter by Brainy Ballers, where we dissect the game with cutting-edge analytics to give you the upper hand. We analyze everything from hand sizes to average depth of targets to uncover hidden trends that no one else sees. Say goodbye to guesswork and hello to data-driven domination. Because here at Brainy Ballers, we don't just watch the game, we understand it. So get ready, it's podcast time.
What truly makes an NFL running back successful? I mean, really successful year after year. Is it just like raw talent, sheer grit? Or is there something more? Something we can actually measure?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah. And today, we're doing a deep dive into a really intriguing metric, relative athletic score, RAS. We've got this fascinating analysis from Brainy Ballers. They crunched years of data. And our mission really is to see if pure athleticism, measured by RAS, can actually predict long-term NFL success for these guys.
Okay, so maybe let's start with the basics. What is RAS?
Good point.
It's a system Kent Lee Platt developed back in 2013. Basically, it evaluates NFL prospects' athleticism, takes their combine and pro day drills.
Right, the 40-yard dash, jumps, agility stuff.
Exactly. Speed, agility, explosiveness, even size factors in.
Right.
And it normalizes all that onto a simple 0 to 10 scale.
So it kind of boils it all down.
Yeah, think of it like a quick grade. Helps teams, analysts, quickly size up a player's raw physical tools compared to others at their position. Saves digging through every single drill result manually.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So how did Brainy Ballers use this? What was their approach?
Well, they really dug into the numbers. They looked at the top 50 fantasy football finishers each season,
Okay.
going all the way back to 2003. And they cross-referenced that with NFL combine data using PPR fantasy scores specifically.
PPR, points per reception. So that really values those pass-catching backs too, not just runners.
Precisely. Often the most valuable fantasy assets. And what they found right off the bat was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
The initial averages, they showed that the very top guys, the top 5 fantasy finishers, they had noticeably higher RAS scores compared to the guys finishing, say, 31st to 50th.
How often did that happen?
In 18 out of 21 seasons, that's 85.7% of the time. So a pretty strong early hint, that maybe higher RAS links to better fantasy output.
Wow, okay, 85%. That's significant. But, where did it get really interesting? Was there a specific point?
Yes, exactly. The data seem to point to this critical threshold.
Do you want to start dominating your drafts? At brainyballers.com, we've researched every metric under the sun for you to find which ones are best linked to fantasy points. You can access hundreds of metrics to sharpen your scouting ability so you know which metrics matter and which are just noise. Stop guessing on which thresholds to look for within each metric. Big numbers can be misleading or irrelevant. Our Ultimate Athlete Blueprints reveal essential scouting metrics, their importance, and benchmarks within each metric that help predict a player's probability of being a success or bust. Elevate your scouting ability with Brainy Ballers' Ultimate Athlete Blueprints today. Click the link in the description. Now back to the show.
They found that when RAS scores went above 7.6, the results were just overwhelmingly positive for consistent top-level performance.
Like a dividing line, almost.
Kind of, yeah. But that raised a question. Is that 7.6 just an average across all running backs, or is it really something special about the top guys?
Right, good question. How'd they check that?
So they did a direct comparison. They took 184 running backs from the bottom 10 fantasy finishers in those years.
Okay.
And in that group, only about half, 50.5%, had a RAS of 7.6 or higher.
Right, 50-50 shot.
Then they compared that against 183 running backs from the top 10 finishers. And here's the kicker. 73.8% of those elite guys hit that 7.6 RAS mark or higher.
73.8. Whoa, so that's, a 23.3% increase in the likelihood of a top guy hitting that score compared to a bottom guy?
Exactly. A really significant difference. They mentioned it almost mirrored another finding they had about 40-yard dash times, showing how critical these athletic markers seem to be.
So they then refined that threshold a bit.
Yeah, they fine-tuned it. They found that actually 7.45 and above seemed to hold up just as strong. It consistently flagged those top performers. So 7.45 became their kind of minimum baseline for future research.
Interesting. And was this always the case, or is it something new?
That's another fascinating part. The data suggests this isn't just a consistent trend, it's maybe more of a recent one.
Oh.
Yeah, the increase in RAS scores from the bottom performers to the top performers was much larger in the more recent period, like 2014 to 2023, compared to the earlier decade.
Huh. Any theories why? Game-changing? Better scouting?
Could be either or both. Maybe the NFL game itself now demands that specific athletic profile more, or maybe teams have just gotten better at identifying and valuing those traits through things like RAS. Hard to say for sure from this data alone.
Okay, so there's a clear link, especially recently. But how strong is that link? Do they, test the correlation?
They did. They used Pearson correlation testing.
Right, Pearson. Remind us what that tells us here.
So the Pearson value basically measures how strongly two things move together. In this case, RAS and fantasy production. The value they found was 0.123.
0.123. Okay, that sounds maybe small.
Well, yes and no. In the world of elite athlete research, where so many factors are involved, a value like 0.123 is actually considered pretty significant. It shows a meaningful, positive relationship. Higher RAS tends to correlate with higher future fantasy production.
Okay, so context matters. How does it compare to something else we think predicts success, like draft position?
Great comparison. They looked at that too. Draft capital for running backs actually had a Pearson value of negative 0.234.
Negative.
It suggests that while draft position matters, RAS is also a really useful objective tool. It helps distinguish between prospects, especially when maybe their college production or the eye test is similar.
Okay, this has been really illuminating. So summing it up, this deep dive really shows that hitting a relative athletic score of 7.45 or higher, well, it happens about 23% more often in top-performing running backs compared to the bottom guys.
Yeah. That's the key takeaway. It points to that 7.45 RAS as a valuable minimum, like a useful benchmark when you're evaluating potential NFL success, and probably fantasy impact too.
So what does this mean for you, listening, if a higher RAS is this significant predictor, especially more recently?
Yeah.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Are there other, maybe seemingly niche, athletic metrics out there that hold hidden predictive power? Not just in football, but other sports, maybe even other fields entirely, outside of pure athleticism.
Yeah, like reaction time for a pilot, or maybe even something less obvious.
Exactly. Definitely something to think about until our next deep dive.